a treasury of Irish fairy and folk tales. Edain, the Queen. Now it happened that the King of Munster one day saw a beautiful girl bathing, and he loved her and made her his queen. And in all the land was no woman so lovely to look upon as the fair Edain, and the fame of her beauty came to the ears of the great and powerful chief and king of the Tuatha De Danann, Midar by name. So he disguised himself and went to the court of the King of Munster as a wandering bard, that he might look on the beauty of Edain, and he challenged the king to a game of chess. "Who is this man that I should play chess with him?" said the king. "Try me," said the stranger. "You will find me a worthy foe." Then the king said, "But the chessboard is in the queen's apartment, and I cannot disturb her." However, when the queen heard that a stranger had challenged the king to chess, she sent her page in with a chessboard, and then came herself to greet the stranger. And Midar was so dazzled with her beauty that he could not speak. He could only gaze on her. And the queen also seemed troubled, and after a time she left them alone. "Now, what shall we play for?" asked the king. "Let the conqueror name the reward," answered the stranger, "and whatever he desires, let it be granted to him." "Agreed," replied the monarch. Then they played the game, and the stranger won. "What is your demand now?" cried the king. "I have given my word that whatever you name shall be yours." "I demand the Lady Edain, the queen, as my reward," replied the stranger. "But I shall not ask you to give her up to me till this day year." And the stranger departed. Now the king was utterly perplexed and confounded, but he took good note of the time, and on that night, just a 12-month after, he made a great feast at Tara for all the princes, and he placed 3 lines of his chosen warriors all round the palace, and forbade any stranger to enter on pain of death. So all being secure, as he thought, he took his place at the feast with a beautiful Edain beside him, all glittering with jewels, and a golden crown on her head, and the revelry went on till midnight. Just then, to his horror, the king looked up, and there stood the stranger in the middle of the hall, but no one seemed to perceive him, save only the king. He fixed his eyes on the queen, and, coming towards her, he struck the golden harp he had in his hand, and sang in a low, sweet voice, "O Edain, wilt thou come with me to a wonderful palace that is mine? White are the teeth there, and black the brows, and crimson as the mead are the lips of the lovers. O woman, if thou comest to my proud people, 'tis a golden crown shall circle thy head. Thou shalt dwell by the sweet streams of my land, and drink of the mead and wine in the arms of thy lover." Then he gently put his arm around the queen's waist, and drew her up from her royal throne, and went forth with her through the midst of all the guests, none hindering. And the king himself was like one in a dream, and could neither speak nor move. But when he recovered himself, then he knew that he was one of the fairy chiefs of the Tuatha De Danann, who had carried off the beautiful Edain to his fairy mansion. So he sent round messengers to all the kings of Erin, that they should destroy all the forts of the hated Tuatha race, and slay and kill, and let none live till the queen, his young bride, was brought back to him. Still she came not. Then the king, out of revenge, ordered his men to block up all the stables where the royal horses of the Danans were kept, that so they might die of hunger. But the horses were of noble blood, and no bars or bolts could hold them, and they broke through the bars and rushed out like the whirlwind, and spread all over the country. And the kings, when they saw the beauty of the horses, forgot all about the search for Queen Edain, and only strove how they could seize and hold as their own some of the fiery steeds with the silver hooves and golden bridles. Then the king raged in his wrath and sent for the chief of the Druids and told him he should be put to death unless he discovered the place where the queen lay hid. So the Druid went over all Ireland and searched and made spells with oghams. At last, having carved 4 oghams on 4 wands of a hazel tree, it was revealed to him that deep down in a hill in the very center of Ireland, Queen Edain was hidden away in the enchanted palace of Medar, the fairy chief. Then the king gathered a great army, and they circled the hill and dug down and down till they came to the very center. And just as they reached the gate of the fairy palace, Medar, by his enchantments, sent forth 50 beautiful women from the hillside to distract the attention of the warriors, all so like the queen in form and features and dress that the king himself could not make out truly if his own wife were amongst them or not. But Edain, when she saw her husband so near her, was touched by love of him in her heart, and the power of the enchantment fell from her soul, and she came to him, and he lifted her up on his horse, and kissed her tenderly, and brought her back safely to his royal palace of Tara, where they lived happily ever after. But soon after the power of the Tuatha De Danann was broken forever, and the remnant that was left took refuge in the caves, where they exist to this day, and practice their magic and work spells, and are safe from death until the judgment day. The end.